Situated along a desolate stretch of Route 66 in Arizona was an old gas station known as Miles Rest. Long abandoned, it was an anomaly in the middle of the desert, a rusty relic of a bygone era. Locals spoke of strange occurrences at Miles Rest, of ghostly figures and phantom headlights that appeared late at night. They said the gas station was haunted by Miles himself, the original owner who mysteriously vanished decades ago. One sweltering summer evening, a weary traveler named Alex found himself driving down Route 66. His car, an old convertible, was running low on fuel, and the next town was still miles away. As desperation crept in, he spotted the neglected silhouette of Miles Rest in the dim light of the setting sun. Pulling into the station, he noted the eerie silence that hung over the place, broken only by the creaking sign swinging in the wind. Ignoring the creeping unease, he decided to check for any leftover fuel. As he touched the old pump, a sudden gust of wind swept through the station, causing the decrepit building to groan. Suddenly, the old radio behind the counter flickered to life, filling the station with a crackling 50s melody, which seemed to materialize from thin air. Startled, Alex turned around and his blood ran cold. Standing behind the counter was the translucent figure of an elderly man, clad in a faded mechanic's outfit. A name tag pinned to his chest read Miles. Frozen in fear, Alex watched as Miles tipped his hat, a sad smile playing on his lips. The ghostly figure moved towards the old pump and cranked the handle. To Alex's disbelief, the rusty machine whirred to life and fuel began to flow into his car. As quickly as it had begun, the fuel stopped, and the station fell silent once again. The apparition of Miles faded, leaving the radio the only testament to his ephemeral presence. With newfound courage, Alex returned to his car, noting the fuel gauge now indicated a full tank. As he pulled out of Miles Rest, he took one last look at the abandoned gas station. In the rearview mirror, he saw the spectral figure of Miles waving him goodbye. Haunted by the experience, Alex continued his journey, his encounter at Miles Rest forever imprinted in his memory. The phantom gas station, with its spectral attendant, remained a spectral oasis in the desert, waiting for the next unsuspecting traveler in need of aid. In the heart of Montana, nestled between vast plains and towering mountains, was a solitary gas station known as Pit Stop 109. Established in the 1960s during the heyday of road trips, the station was reputed for an odd phenomenon. Late at night, customers reported hearing the sounds of a lively party emanating from the station's tiny diner, though no one was there. Lena, a travel blogger known for her fascination with oddities, decided to pay a visit to Pit Stop 109. She arrived at dusk, the setting sun casting long, eerie shadows over the abandoned fuel pumps and the shuttered diner. With a deep breath, she stepped into the diner. Her flashlight cut through the thick darkness, revealing faded checkered floors and red leather booths layered in dust. An antique jukebox stood in the corner, a silent remnant of the diner's lively past. As midnight approached, Lena began to hear a faint sound. It started as a low hum, but gradually, it transformed into the chatter of a crowd, the clinking of dishes, laughter, and music. The sound swelled around her, immersing Lena in a sonic illusion of a bustling diner. Suddenly, the jukebox lit up, playing a cheerful tune from the 1960s. The diner filled with a warm, spectral light, revealing ghostly figures seated in the booths, dancing on the floors, and a phantom waitress gliding around with a tray. Wide-eyed, Lena watched the spectral party unfold. The ghostly patrons seemed to be enjoying themselves, oblivious to her presence. It was as if she was witnessing a joyful moment frozen in time, replayed every night at this abandoned pit stop. After what felt like hours, the song on the jukebox ended. The spectral light gradually faded, and the laughter and chatter died down until all was silent and dark once again. Lena found herself alone in the deserted diner, the echo of spectral laughter still ringing in her ears. With a newfound respect for the mysteries of Pit Stop 109, Lena stepped back into the silent night, leaving behind the gas station and its phantom patrons. The spectral party continued to play out every night, a testament to the station's lively past, forever entertaining its ghostly guests at Pit Stop 109. In a small town in Nevada, right at the edge of the expansive desert, there was a peculiar gas station named Last Chance. The station, a relic of the mid-20th century, was anything but ordinary. It was said that every full moon, the station would inexplicably come alive, the lights would turn on, and cars from eras gone by would pull in to refuel. An adventurous urban explorer, Jason, intrigued by these accounts, decided to investigate Last Chance. Armed with his camera and a strong sense of curiosity, he arrived at the station just as the moon was beginning to rise, bathing the desert in a soft, ethereal glow. The station was a picturesque relic, with its rusted pumps and old-fashioned signage. As the moon reached its zenith, Jason observed the lights flickering on, casting a warm, inviting glow over the desert landscape. He reached for his camera, but what he saw next made him freeze in his tracks. Out of the desert's empty expanse, a parade of vintage cars started appearing, each one more stunning and polished than the last. The vehicles pulled into the station, lining up next to the fuel pumps. To his disbelief, Jason watched as translucent figures, dressed in period attire, got out of the cars to stretch their legs or converse with each other. Jason, still in disbelief, moved closer, his camera forgotten in his hands. He approached a phantom couple who were leaning against a shiny 1957 Chevrolet, engaged in an animated conversation. He tried speaking to them, but they paid him no attention, continuing their discussion as if he wasn't there. Just as he was about to reach out and touch the spectral Chevy, the station's lights flickered, and a low rumble filled the air. Startled, Jason watched as one by one, the vintage cars started their engines, their spectral drivers returning to their seats. With a roar of engines and a swirl of dust, they drove off into the desert, disappearing as mysteriously as they had appeared. With the break of dawn, Last Chance returned to its usual silent and desolate state. Shaken but thrilled by his encounter, Jason left the station with a story of a lifetime, his only proof being the phantom tire tracks left behind in the desert sand. Last Chance remained a fixture at the edge of the town, its mysterious spectral activity under the full moon becoming a local legend, a ghostly reminder of a bustling past trapped in the quiet desert nights. In the remote region of the Appalachian Mountains, a seemingly ordinary gas station named Hollow Hill Fuel was the subject of numerous local tales. This old station was known to only appear to those who were truly lost, both in direction and in life. Kurt, a man in his mid-30s grappling with his life's crossroads, embarked on a solo hiking trip through the Appalachians. One day, he lost his way in the dense forest. As night fell, the cold mountain wind bit through his clothes, and fear began to settle in. Just when despair was about to take hold, he spotted the faint glow of lights through the trees. Stumbling through the undergrowth, Kurt found himself standing before Hollow Hill Fuel. Its rustic charm and warm lights felt inviting after hours in the cold forest. With a sigh of relief, he stepped inside the quaint station, which seemed to double as a small convenience store. Behind the counter was an elderly man with a kind smile, introducing himself as Henry. Kurt explained his predicament, to which Henry nodded knowingly. He offered Kurt a hot cup of coffee, inviting him to sit by the fireplace. As the night wore on, Henry began to share stories of his life, tales of adventure, love, loss, and redemption. Each story seemed to mirror the struggles Kurt was facing, offering insight and perspective he hadn't considered. Hours turned into days, and Kurt found himself reluctant to leave the warmth and wisdom of Hollow Hill Fuel. He spent days helping around the station, learning from Henry, and contemplating his own crossroads. One morning, Kurt woke up to find the gas station empty. Henry was nowhere to be found, and the station was cold and silent. A note on the counter caught his eye. It was from Henry, thanking him for his company and wishing him well on his journey. As Kurt stepped outside, he was surprised to find himself on the familiar hiking trail, his car parked just a few feet away. He looked back, but the gas station had vanished, leaving no trace behind. With a renewed spirit, Kurt drove back home, the wisdom he gained at Hollow Hill Fuel helping him navigate the crossroads of his life. The gas station continued its mystical existence, appearing to those who needed it most, guiding lost souls, just as a lighthouse guides lost ships at sea.